Welcome, Ashley, to Badass Women Wednesdays. Thank you so much for joining tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Nice. So let's jump right into the questions here. So how long have you been mountain biking for, and how did you get started in the sport?
Oh, so I first started mountain biking to that 2017. I consider 2018 my first real season. I had been bike commuting for years before that and was just sick of riding with cars and traffic, and started to get out into the mountains more and more and wanted to combine the two. And then my oldest son takes credit for getting me into mountain biking because he had a school buddy who we became quite good friends with, their whole family, and we camped together and stuff. And one of the parents was a mountain biker, and so helped get me into the sport and was very patient and kind and showed me the way and took me out on some trails and taught me some skills. So, and then, yeah, that was just totally hooked after that.
Nice, that's awesome. So I just realized that we didn't open our beers.
No.
Yes.
Sorry,
or that we didn't cheers. So I think we should cheers our beers. Cheers to you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah. Nice. Okay, so next question here. What was your first mountain bike?
It was a Norco Storm Forma, it was called. It was a hardtail. I went into the shop and said, I want to start mountain biking, but I'm not going to do anything scary. It's all just going to be flowy, easy trails. And so they gave me exactly what I asked for and set me up with a hardtail. And it was, I don't even think it lasted a whole season before I was like, I need some suspension on this thing.
Right.
It was great. It was a great bike. It just wasn't the one for me.
No, fair enough. Okay, so next question here. What is your favorite trail, and where's your favorite place or area to ride if you had to pick just one?
Well, if I had to pick just one, my favorite trail of all time is still, it's got some stiff competition this year, but Race of Spades. I just love that trail. I love the trail itself, the features. I love that it has something for everybody on it and everybody can have fun on it. I also just love the forest on that side of the mountain. It's just, it's my happy place, that one. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased. I love Moos and Prairie and riding out here for sure. If it wasn't our home trails, though, Squamish is my favorite.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I love Race of Spades too. Like you said, it just has variety for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
And
that's a great trail.
Like the flow and the little bits of tech, and yeah, it's just so good. Like this year, as I got more comfortable on T-Dub, like T-Dub, it's a close second, but I don't know if it'll ever replace Race.
Oh, that's fair. Okay, what is your dream riding destination globally?
I was thinking about this. I was like, oh, it should probably be somewhere more exotic than what it is, but we're just so spoiled that I don't. And I'm so new to mountain biking that I've got so much to explore that I really just want to spend more time in BC and some of our local-ish trails. There's a lot of ground that I haven't covered close to home, so I've got a ton of exploring to do. But yeah, really, I just want to spend some time over in BC riding.
Oh yeah, I think we're so spoiled in Canada. Like we have some of the best biking in the world.
Yeah, I don't have to go far for it, that's for sure.
No. Okay, so you're the president of Moos Mountain Bike Trail Society. How long have you held this position, and what are your responsibilities in this role?
I've been doing this since November 2019, so just over a year now. And I was thinking about it as I was reading your questions. I was like, that year flew by. It was fast. Technically, I think my responsibilities are to provide leadership to the executive team, more day-to-day stuff. I coordinate meetings. Sometimes I tell them I feel like I'm herding cats, but it's all part of the fun. Just coordinating a lot of stuff. Like the team, they all have their roles and their kind of passion projects and focus areas. And I just try and help tie it all together and make sure we're all on the right track and headed in the right direction.
Nice. Excuse me. And what has been the highlight through working with Moos Mountain Bike Trail Society so far?
Definitely the people. One of the things I think that makes MBIT so special is our community. Like, it really is just amazing. The people that we have in our area and our local ride scene, it's so friendly and welcoming, at least in my opinion. And the people there are engaged and they come out and they interact, and it's just, I know it's just great. And lots of people comment on it, and I really believe that that's the best part of MBITS and what draws people to us. Yeah, so I think there was a second part to that question.
Oh, and what's been the biggest challenge so far?
Definitely it's been a steep learning curve from just being so new to mountain biking. I had been on MBITS for a couple of years beforehand, writing grants, but it's a very different role being the president. So there's a steep learning curve in terms of interacting with government, learning some of the new regulations and all of that stuff. And then even on the trail side, like, I was so new to trail building and still am, and that kind of thing. But so just learning the different aspects of trail building and what goes into these projects, because a big part of what I do is try and coordinate the work plan, and then it's the trail bosses to execute on, and he's also a big part of building that plan. But just making sure it all comes together and that we can manage it and undertake all this. And so learning the high level details of the trail building side of things. So it's been a steep learning curve. Great fun at the same time. I've enjoyed it all, but it's been a lot. And then the other part of it is just being kind of stuff like this, like being out in public a lot more. I'm more of a behind the scenes kind of person.
Right.
So yeah, and it's great. Like, again, our community is amazing, and I love going out to Ings and just chatting with people. And, the shared suffering grinding up Husky Road is, if you got to do it, you might as well share that with somebody. So it's been a lot of fun, but yeah, it's been challenging too. Public speaking's not my forte, and there's definitely an aspect to that in this work, but everybody's been so great and encouraging that it's made it easier for sure.
Well, I think, excuse me, I think you've done such an awesome job so far, which I said before we started our interview too. Like, I think you're killing it. So yeah.
Thank you.
Nice job. Yeah. Okay, what's our next question here? Okay, how can people volunteer for Moos Mountain Bike Trail Society?
We get this question a lot, and it's a tough one to answer. Like, there's obvious ones like trail days and events. We can always use extra hands at events, and raking and clearing trails. That task is just never going to go away. But there's other stuff I think that is probably less obvious. Like, if people have a skill set that they probably use either doing other things that they enjoy or in their work, chances are that in some way that adds value for MBITS. Like last year, we had a lady named Lauren of Cream and Sugar is her company name, offered to update our website. And that was a huge time savings for us, a huge cost savings, and the website looks awesome because we are not professional web designers. She did a great job, and she still maintains it when we need updates.
That's huge.
Yeah, stuff like that, like just any way that someone thinks that we could be doing something better, we probably can and would welcome the help.
Right.
The best way to reach out about that kind of stuff is either social media or email. And we're always open to discussion. Like, if people have an idea or if they have an event they want to run with, like something new that we haven't done before, or something that we used to do and haven't seen, or just something we can do better, like, and they want to lend a hand, we're always open to that for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. How can, excuse me, how can people get a membership or make a donation to Moos Mountain Bike Trail Society?
So memberships are one of the biggest ways people can support us. And that's there's a lot of ways memberships are important. One of them is just having that base membership. Like, when we go to government or funding agencies and say, we're speaking on behalf of now 1,500 members, that gives us a voice. It makes it real for people that we're not just a handful of crazy mountain bikers out in the woods.
Right.
So that really helps. And obviously the cash goes straight back to the trails, and that always helps. We do have stuff like insurance and that kind of thing that also is only available to members. So those definitely matter. In terms of donations, the easiest way is probably Trail Forks Trail Karma button. Like, it's on every trail page. There's a few ways on our website that people can donate. Skip the Depots one. They'll come pick up your bottles and donate part of the proceeds back to us.
Yes.
What else? There's Benevity, people who have like corporate giving programs through their workplaces. It's a lot of bigger corporations that are set up with Benevity, but we're all set up there. So it just goes straight into our bank account, makes life really easy for everyone.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, time and manual labor, really the best ways to donate.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. And is there anything else you'd like to share here in terms of what you have for 2022 season for asks?
This year, our big push, we've got an up track. We want to build this. We've talked a lot about it, I think, but so maybe people are getting sick of hearing about it. We want to build an up track on Moos, so we don't have to ride the road. It'll go.
That's gonna be so awesome,
right? And it should be shorter, if not just as quick as shuttling. So it's like you might as well just pedal up. It should loop back from the bottom of like Toothless, Billy Dog, Jean-Guy area there, and just go straight back up to the, not straight up. It'll be a very easy and accessible trail to the top of Jean-Guy. But that trail is going to come with a cost. We do want to take it on internally because we've got some machine skills in-house now. Nice. So we're pretty confident we can execute on it, but we'll need to rent a machine for quite a few months. Getting a machine out to Moos, like delivering it. So if people want to pitch in towards that specific initiative, that would be awesome. If somebody has a way to, if they have a machine they want to loan us, we'll happily take that. If they want to, or have the ability to tow a machine out to Moos for us, that's huge. Yeah, and we're going to need there'll be volunteer days on that trail too. I believe there's still some handwork that needs to be done. It can't all be done with the machine. So but this year with the trail crew, because we want to take on that project and grow the trail crew. So it's really dollars that'll help us out this year to keep the crew funded and going.
Oh yeah, it's awesome that there's a trail crew now as well. That's amazing.
Yeah, we think it's pretty awesome. Like, besides just the day-to-day improvements in the way the trails flow, at these little updates that they just keep going all summer long.
Right.
I also personally think it's amazing that as a nonprofit trail society, we're creating jobs. Like, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and when will construction start on the new climb trail?
Hopefully right away. So we want the trail crew to start early May, weather pending, like if all the snow goes and all, there's a whole bunch of caveats there, but the ideal situation is everybody starts early May. And we want to get going on the up track as soon as possible because we'd like to actually be riding it by the end of the season. We've budgeted about 12 weeks of man-hour time to get that one built. So if we start in May, hopefully by the end of July, if everything goes to plan, rain and all that's out of our hands. But yeah, that's our top priority after we make sure that all the trails, all the blowdowns clear and all the trails are safe to get riders out on them first thing. That's next on the list.
Right. Okay, so Moose Mountain Bike Trail Society has a unique women's enduro mentorship program for the 2022 season. Can you tell us a bit about it and how ladies can apply to get involved?
This one is so awesome. So Sarah Elliott writes grants for us. She's been with us for just over a year now. She kind of joined around the same time that I became president. And we were doing a ladies pre-ride last summer and it was so much fun. We had a great time. And someone threw an off the cuff comment about, oh, we should do more of these or something along those lines. And Sarah took that off the cuff comment, wrote this awesome grant application, made this program, and got the whole thing funded. So it's just, she just
Wow.
ran with it.
Mhm.
And she's an amazing grant writer. So she's developed this program, and it's designed around 6 new racers who haven't raced before or have very little racing experience. And the goal is for them to work with 6 experienced racers throughout the summer. And she's got a series of pre-rides, educational sessions, and mentorship program all laid out.
Nice.
So the goal is for them to race all the 5ers. There's 3 of them in the program, with the ultimate goal of racing Moose Duro at the end. And
That's awesome.
she's looking for applicants. She's going to release more details in, I would imagine, newsletter and social media blasts here over the next little while. But she's going to be looking for applicants both to for the racers and for the mentors. So if any women are interested in either side of that, we need 12 altogether, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, it's such an awesome initiative. As someone who's raced, like I started racing in 2009, and there's never been a ton of women on the start line, and it's so amazing to see what's happening now. Like, yeah, it makes me super happy.
Steeds had, was that bet 40%, weren't they?
Yep.
That's amazing. Like,
oh, it's like so awesome last year to see that. Yeah. And the Moose Duro, like, such an awesome race as well, like really good community event.
It's so welcoming and engaging, and it's just awesome. It's just the community vibe. I love the vibe of Moose Duro.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And it's such a fun course. It's always so fun.
It's the joys of having the course picked and designed by local riders who love to race. It's they do such a good job.
Yeah. Okay. Beyond your role with Moose Mountain Bike Trail Society, you're also a mom with a full-time job. How do you balance your own riding and training with everything else?
I don't know if I balance anything very well. I definitely, come summer ride season, get a little too focused on riding my bike. I don't really formally train for much. I just, my schedule's fairly limited. And so I just ride when I can and use riding itself as training, which has, bitten me in the past, but that's okay. It's just so important to me that I have to make it work. But it's also one of the perks of being divorced is I only have my kids half time. And so when I have them, I try to encourage them to come out riding. They get dragged around riding, and they're starting to like it more, and they ask to go now. But so I try to incorporate it so that it's something we can do together. And then when they're not around, it's ride time for sure.
Right. Nice. It's so awesome you can ride with your kids. That must be amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty rewarding. It's not always easy. I've there've been a lot of fits and tantrums on the side of the trail, but I think that's every parent, regardless. It's bound to happen anywhere. But yeah, it's,
how old are your kids?
11, 8, and 7.
Oh, yeah. So what do you do to, like, when that happens? This might help other parents. What do you do when, like, they have a meltdown? Like, how do you encourage them?
We have we call them hill treats. So we sit by the side of the trail a lot until whoever's having a fit calms down. We try and talk it out if the mood allows. Yeah, bribery works well. We have hill treats, so we always have a candy stash to keep people going. It's getting easier though. Like I think the hardest years are behind us, because now they're getting a little stronger. They've got a little more endurance, and they're now doing it more because they want to be out there, less because I'm just dragging them out there. But yeah, the candy and the hip pack is always the key for any ride.
Oh, that's fair enough. Okay, do you play any other sports or have any other active interests that help you to cross train for mountain biking in the winter and summer?
I probably should have more, but no, I've played tons of sports over the years. I used to play volleyball and slow pitch and soccer for a while. I have skied casually most of my life and tried to get back into it a few years ago just to have something to get through winter. And then I got a fat bike, so and beeline
awesome.
wind, so it's just biking year round now.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you done any mountain bike racing?
Besides our local races, no. I've been doing toonie races since the first year I started mountain biking. Now they're 5ers. I didn't actually race in any of them this year. I just volunteered at them, but I've also raced in all the Moos except the first one.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun, but I'm not a speedy rider. I'm usually like towards the back, if not the very back of the group on the trail, and I'm not overly competitive, so racing isn't my thing, but I just have so much fun at the 5ers and Moos for the vibe that it's
totally.
It's just fun to go participate, really.
100%, yeah. Excuse me. Okay, what's been your worst crash or injury from mountain biking thus far?
It's funny because I'm not a racer, but they're all from racing. We had a pump track race at Beeline a couple of years, probably 3 years ago now. I crashed pretty hard at that one. I still don't know what happened really, but I slammed my shoulder pretty good and took a handlebar right to the lip. So
wow.
That was one of the worst ones. And then the second one was probably this year at Moos right on stage 1 at the end. It's like all the hard part of Toothless was done. It was getting into the more chill section near the bottom, and I just lost my front wheel and slammed my other shoulder, and I thought I broke my wrist, but I didn't. I'm still not sure what happened there, but and then cut up my hand because I don't wear gloves when I ride. So it's mostly better now, but that was probably one of my worst ones for sure.
Oh yeah, my worst crash last season was on a green trail, biking a group back to the parking lot.
No.
I hit a rock that I didn't see there, and I launched over my handlebars into the bush and like hit, I don't know what, like a tree stump or something on my thigh, and it still hurts. No. Like it's like a deep bruise that won't. It hasn't gone away yet. Right. So anyway, it's just those times you're like, well, I wasn't paying that much attention, right? And
I've heard of a few of those from last year, and it always seems to be like when you're super focused and dialed, like those crashes happen, but they seem to be more frequent when you're just chill and overconfident or not paying attention.
Yep, totally. Anyway, okay, so what do you think will help get more women into mountain biking?
This one's a tough one. I think we're in a really awesome spot right now, actually, for women in mountain biking. Like, there are a ton of great things happening in the sport besides just women's focused events, women's only races. There are so many companies coming out with women specific kit, like designed for women. The pro field in terms of women is amazing. The new free ride events that came out this year at the pro level, like there's just so many awesome things happening. More at the entry level, I think what we need to really focus on is making mountain biking more comfortable for beginners in general. I think we're at a point where we just need to get more people into mountain biking, and it can be an intimidating sport. Like when you watch on TV, everything's huge, the jumps are giant, the tech is gnarly, people are riding perfectly. I think we really need to show all aspects of mountain biking. We need to show the imperfect side, but not just the Friday fails, because it's not either perfectly smooth or this horrible crash. There's the wobbly bits in between.
Right.
We need to just make it more welcoming and inclusive in general, like show people that when we started out, we were all wearing the wrong gear and riding the wrong bike and falling over on silly things, and that there's progression there. And I think just making the sport more welcoming, showing all sides of it. We just need to be out there. And part of that is just being out there doing it.
Right.
And I think that's why we're partly in a really great place for women in mountain biking right now, is because there's so many women in mountain biking, and it's easy to go out now and see what everybody's doing and encourage each other. And and it's awesome. And I love all of it. And we just need to do more of that, and then make sure that everybody feels welcome and encouraged like that as they try to enter the sport.
Right. That was an awesome answer, actually. Yeah, I agree. And then the other thing is too, that I think is just encouraging younger women, like teenagers, and to get into the sport as well. Because I read a stat the other day that it was something like 50% of girls leave sports by the age of 14.
I've read that stat.
Shocking. Yeah.
And it's so sad, because I think that's an age when sport can add so much benefit to your life. Like there's it's just so good to have that team aspect. And mountain biking is an individual sport, but there's a big community component to it. And I think that's important. And if girls are dropping sports, they're losing a big part of that. And sports can be so good for not just your health, but your confidence and and there's so many. And that in particular topic is big for me. Like I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I definitely don't want to see her walk away from sports in 7 years when she turns 14, because I did similar, and I came back to it much later in life. And man, I wish I had stuck with all the sports and didn't have that gap. It's harder to come back to than it is to stay in. So we definitely have to keep them.
I did the same thing in high school. Like I played a lot of sports in public school, but then I got to high school and I just wanted to be cool.
Right.
So I was more interested in going out and partying than playing sports. Yeah.
Same here. Yeah.
But anyway, but things are changing, right? So yeah.
And I think in the States, like they have a program. There were like all these mainstream sports that we have in high schools that kids can go play, like soccer and basketball and that. In the States, they have a program where mountain biking is one of those. And
that's awesome.
It would be amazing to see something like that become more prevalent in Canada. I don't know if there are any high schools offering mountain biking as a sport, but Calgary in particular, we're so well set up to have that as an option that I think something like that would go a long way to keeping younger girls in the sport and getting more of them into it earlier.
Well, it's so true. Yeah. We're living around Calgary, you're so lucky with access to the mountains and sports. Yeah. Okay. Last year was awesome to watch you take off all the trails on Prairie and Moose Mountain. And that being said, how do you approach your goal setting in your riding and skill progression? And what goals do you have for the upcoming season?
That was pretty funny. So I've got my goals come about really randomly. So before that was my 2021 goal. In 2020, my goal was to do 7 laps of Prairie in a day.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't make it.
Wow, that's a lot.
I ran out of time. I made it to 6 and I was super pumped with that. And because I got to a point where I knew I could get the 7th one, I just didn't have enough hours, and then it snowed.
Oh, crap.
But that one came about because I was dying up Husky Road on lap 2 or 3 once the summer before. And some friends came up behind me and were chatting, and we started, you talk about what you've ridden that day. And I said, oh yeah, no, I'm on lap 2 or 3 and going up for probably you should have at that point, because that was all I pretty much rode. And they said, oh yeah, we're on lap 7. And I was like, oh man, I want to do 7 laps in a day. So that was my random goal. And then the whole checklist last year really just came about because when I became president with IMBITS, people would talk to me about trails and features that I had never been on. And I found it slightly embarrassing that I was like, I've never seen it. I don't know what you're talking about. And so that one was really, I wanted to be in some way on every trail so that when people mention like the rock drop on Faith Healer, that I would know what the rock drop they were talking about was, and stuff like that. And so I didn't ride all those trails. I hiked 3 of them because 2 of them were all 3 of them were post crash. I think trauma is safely on the never.
It's pretty steep. I haven't ridden that either. Yeah.
Real. I hiked it. It was hard to hike. And I know a lot of times it's harder to hike than to ride it, but man, that trail's another world. So one of my goals for this year is to go back and do all those trails again, but do them better.
Nice.
I tell this story about, I take my kids up the worst part of Husky Road, just Elbow Valley, and then ride down that end bit of Elbow Valley. And we did that one day, and my daughter went up, and she's the youngest, and she rode all but a couple parts of it.
Nice.
She walked only a couple short sections, and like,
right, that's amazing.
Technical. And and then she went up for lap number 2, and she said, well, this time I'm going to ride the whole thing. And she did. She rode the whole thing.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then she wanted to go up for lap 3, and on the way up, and she went, okay, now I'm going to do it better. And she did. Like, it was amazing. And it was not me. I wasn't pushing her. She's got this drive. And so this year's goal of going back and redoing the list, but I just want to do it better. I want to clean some more things. There's some features like I didn't ride the end of 4th Horseman last year. I rode like the bottom half of the steep there. So I want to go back and get that.
That's getting, some of those are getting a bit more roaded and more technical.
Yeah.
That's a tricky spot.
Yeah, it's gnarly and I had
a bad crash there too. Yeah, it's like not a good. Like some of the lines are like not. Anyway,
it's so long too. Like just speed control. I think in traction in there it gets so loose.
Right.
So yeah, stuff like that. I want to get that one. I didn't ride that or SLF. I'm not sure if I'm gonna ride SLF. Upper SLF, anyways. So yeah, I want to go back and ride a few, do them all a little bit better. I have a couple of kind of smaller 1-day ride goals that I haven't quite completely sussed out yet, but they're in the works. So that one will be.
Because you said you started riding in 2018, is that right?
This is my first real season, yeah.
So that's like only 4 seasons. So that's impressive that you attempted all of those trails, because some of them are not easy.
No, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I had some really great coaches and mentors along the way, and I don't attempt these trails alone. I actually really like going with people who, when it was fun, when I put my checklist out there, I had a few people say, oh, I'll take you on this trail and I'll take you on this trail. And it's so much fun to go ride a trail with somebody who either helped build it or just loves it and is passionate about it, or is now the person who goes out and takes care of it just because they love it so much, because they stop and they want to tell you every feature and explain it all. It was really cool experience to get to ride some of those. So
that's awesome.
I definitely had a lot of great mentors helping on the way to check off that list.
Nice. But even just having the mental space to do that, it's impressive. Yeah. Okay. How has mountain biking impacted other areas of your life? Has it helped with stress relief, developed leadership skills, or expanded your social circle, or anything else?
All of the above. I joke, but it's not really a joke that mountain biking's really changed my whole life.
That's awesome.
From when I started that first time I rode in 2017 to I started on the executive of MBTS in 2018, and the whole crew has always been super friendly and warm and welcoming, and I appreciate that. But it was hard even to, I got on the exec because Chris put a call out at the AGM saying they needed help writing grants.
Mm.
I was like, I can do this. Like, it's all just, I can stay at home and write grants and hide behind my computer, really. And and that was awesome. And I went to that first meeting and they were great. They're a very smart, driven, passionate crew of people, and it was inspiring and very intimidating all at the same time. So being on the executive and now being in this role has certainly pushed my comfort zone to new limits. It's forced me to do more public speaking, to put myself out there more than I would have otherwise. It's kind of incidental, but it all kind of ties back together. I've made some really awesome friends through mountain biking that I wouldn't have met otherwise. I can't imagine a way in which our worlds would have overlapped, but I'm so grateful that they did. I now work in the outdoor industry, whereas I was in oil and gas before. So it's really just changed all of it. And
what is your day job?
I do logistics coordination and data analysis for an outdoor gear sales and marketing company.
Oh, that's a interesting job.
Yeah, it's kind of two roles that overlap right now because it's a small company and we do what we can to help out. But it's amazing. I had been in oil and gas for 13 years and I had a great boss and mentor there too. And I owe him a lot, but I don't miss that industry at
Right,
all.
yeah. Yep. Yeah. Me neither.
It's really it's mountain biking. It's just really changed everything for me in the last 4 or 5 years. It's been quite drastic, but in a lot of really great ways.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, mountain biking is the best.
Yeah.
So where do you see the future of mountain biking going, especially for women in the sport?
Oh, it's so good right now. I'm really excited to be where we're at, like we talked about, just in terms of the women in the sport and where the opportunities we have, the pros leading the way, making it more accessible for women and more comfortable, all the women focused stuff. The sport as a whole, like the last 2 years have been phenomenal for making mountain biking more mainstream. And I know not everybody is a huge fan of that, but there's a lot of perks that come with that. And we're seeing it from MBIT's side. Mountain bike tourism is huge. It's an industry to itself now. Biking as a whole, the industry has exploded over the last 2 years. For mountain, like specific to us, we're seeing the benefits of it becoming more mainstream in the tourism side, in that we're being recognized, funding is coming our way, we're becoming more legitimate. Obviously, that comes with some downsides too. There's more paperwork involved these days and more rules to follow, but ultimately a lot of that stuff is for the better. It makes it more accessible, more visible. And the more visible we are, the more we can encourage new riders to get out there and join the sport. So I'm super excited to be a part of it. I just think it's so inspiring to watch people. I really love seeing how normalized trail building has become. It's pretty cool that it's a legit job now. There's companies out there devoted just to building trails.
Yeah, totally.
Been around for a while, but there's more and more of them. There's standards. It's been so cool. I follow some people on social media that do adaptive mountain biking. That's a whole other area that's amazing. I just think mountain biking can add so much to people's lives, and it is a lifestyle in a lot of ways. It's more than just a sport, in my opinion, but it's more than just a hobby. And the explosive growth that we've seen, I can't wait to see it carry on as long as we do it responsibly. Obviously, we're out there in some environmental sensitive areas, and we have to be careful about that. But the more funding, the more mainstream, the more tourism that we get, the more ability we have to educate people on how to do that all properly too. So it's just, there's so many directions we can take it right now, and it's really just exciting to be a part of it.
Oh yeah, it is an exciting time for the sector. I think it's
Yeah.
just going to grow even more. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's huge, and it's awesome because like I said, the bigger it gets, the more women will get out there riding, the more kids, the more normal it'll be, and I feel like there's people out there who had to fight a lot harder than what I've come into. Like it's already quite normalized, and a lot of the work towards getting mountain biking to be an accepted sport has been done, and now but from here on it should just get easier. We should, yeah, getting trails approved and built and getting people into the sport hopefully just gets easier. We just see more people out riding bikes.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I don't think so. I think you did a great job covering it. It's
Thanks.
the questions were awesome and well thought out. So thank you being so organized.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah. And yeah, thank you for being interviewed tonight and for being such an inspiring community builder.
No, thank you. No, it's I'm inspired every time we go out to an MBTS event. The people, the executive who show up and give their time and energy and their passion to our community, it just blows my mind. I never get tired of seeing that. And the people in our community are really something special. I think MBTS is we're different in all the best ways, and we've got a lot of good going for us, and I can't take credit for that. There's a lot of years of building community that went into this before I joined, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of the next few years.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think you've done an awesome job, and it's amazing to see a female leading the charge of such like Moose Mountain is the most badass trail association in the area, so it's pretty awesome.
I think so. Thank you.
Yeah. The hardest trails, yeah. Yes, thank you so much for the chat tonight, Ashley. No problem. Okay.
Thanks for having me, Fiona. You too.
Okay, bye.